Good morning, everyone. I'm very pleased to be able to do a small update today regarding some of the recent news, namely regarding the appointment of J.D. Vance as Vice President to President Trump, and the endorsement of Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Also to the Republican Party. And I'm also going to be looking at some information around the election and how that might run into the new setup, which I've been talking about, where we're going to devolve governance through a new process in the future, a new setup, which may or may not be something like Project 2025. I'm also going to be talking about Trump's new cryptocurrency, which is quite timely, as I had just mentioned in my previous video all around Mbridge, that there could be a new platform announced in the USA regarding cross-border payments and possibly a new crypto platform. And so I'm going to be looking around Trump's announcement of his new crypto. And also I'm going to be taking a look at some aspects of social media platforms, particularly around Telegram and the arrest of Pavel Durov. And I'm going to be looking around Zuckerberg and some other information around social media platforms. And I hope you really enjoy everything that is going to be channeled for you today. So the first thing I wanted to look at was J.D. Vance, who on the 15th of July 2024 was announced as the Vice President candidate for the 2024 campaign for President Donald Trump and the Republican Party. So according to Reclaim the Net, which is the Trump media platform, Vance is a figure that has seamlessly transitioned from the world of venture capitalism to the halls of US politics. It seems that whilst he was working at Silicon Valley as a venture capitalist, he had supported somebody called Peter Thiel, who is a major figure in Silicon Valley. Peter Thiel co-founded PayPal, and he also founded the defense contractor Palantir. So it would seem that Vance has a background not only in venture capitalism, but he also seems to understand the technology and finance sectors. And so I wanted to have a look all around why suddenly Vance has sort of come to the forefront of the Republican Party election campaign. So the first thing I wanted to know was J.D. Vance, as the Vice President to Trump, is he actually a white hat or a black hat? They said to me that J.D. Vance is not aligned with the white hats to date, but has been chosen by the Trump team because of his connections to Silicon Valley as a warning shot. So I said, what is this warning shot? Because this was very interesting. And they said that the appointment of Vance is a strategy to infiltrate Silicon Valley and to start a vigorous cleanup campaign. And they're saying that those tech companies that are not in alignment with white hat protocols or white hat business in terms of trade and ethics and political stance, they're going to be cleaned up. And I say, when you say political stance, what do you mean do they need to be like Republican? And they said, no, it doesn't mean they have to be Republican. It means that they need to be clean in order to be ready to fall under the new setup. So we know that the new setup means that in the future, we're going to be devolving governance down to the people. So that's going to involve devolved voting, devolved communications, devolved banking, for example. So I said, what will the new setup require for tech and investment companies such as Silicon Valley? And they said to me that the new setup will begin streamlining and devolving to we the people to allow for devolved functions in finances, communications, and government, particularly with regard to devolved voting systems. So this is all very interesting because it would seem that Vance's appointment is to put the heat onto tech companies, particularly in and around Silicon Valley, or anybody that may have been involved in any of the venture capitalist programs that Vance was involved in, as a way, it looks like it's as almost like a sting operation to see in what way or what direction certain organizations within the tech movement, how they're going to move, how they're going to respond going forward. Obviously, JD Vance will have a lot of information around these people. So I said, JD Vance, is it intended that he will remain in the vice president role right up until the election of 2024 and then beyond that? And they actually said no. They said that Vance will only be the vice president until a bit closer to the election. And it is then intended that he is either removed or steps down to be replaced by Robert F. Kennedy Jr. So this was very interesting because we now know that Robert F.K. Jr. Is endorsing Donald Trump on the Republican race for the election of 2024. So I'm going to now look at some of the information around election 2024. Now I have done a few videos around this already, which you can find at mylocals.com channel. And it would appear that there does seem to be a few potential outcomes of how the 2024 election could potentially turn out. And I think that this is because the final outcome is yet to be, or strategy is yet to be decided upon. So I feel like there are a few options to how the White Hats would like the 24 election campaign to run and its outcomes. And I wanted to sort of look in again today to see what they're saying at the moment. So I said, after the election of 2024, whether it's postponed or otherwise, who will be the representatives to step forward in the new setup? So I've talked about the new setup many times. Basically, the election of 2024 in and of itself, it is not actually of the greatest importance, in the respect that it's the new setup that's coming after that event that is going to be the new template for how we go forward with devolved governance in the future, devolved governance to we the people, and devolved voting. So I asked them the question, after the election of 2024 in the USA, postponed or otherwise, who will be the representatives that will step forward for the new setup in 2025 and beyond? Now they said to me, so I gave them some examples, some names, and to see if those people were going to be in the new setup. They said, so I asked them about Tulsi Gabbard, and they said she would have a lead role. I asked about Vivek Ramaswamy, and they said he would have a role in some areas of the new setup. Ron DeSantis, they said yes, he would be involved. Musk, yes. Robert F. Kennedy Jr., they said he would have a new role similar to a health minister. Jack Dorsey would be working with Musk on freedom cities. They said that Donald Trump will eventually step back and that Ron DeSantis is likely to play a major role in the new setup. So when I'm talking about these characters and Trump's stepping back, I'm talking about not the election itself, not the 2024 election, however that may turn out, whether that's delayed, postponed, or runs. I'm now talking about how things are going to look after that event when we start moving in to devolved governance, the new setup. So they're saying in the new setup, regardless of how the election goes in 2024, that Donald J. Trump will eventually step back and that Ron DeSantis is likely to play a major role. They also said again that Oprah Winfrey, Lady Gaga, and the actor Jon Voight would have roles in the new setup. Now, this is because in the new setup, it's not just going to be about people that have been elected in the old election process. It's going to be about people that are ambassadors or representatives for certain roles within society that can then lead others by example as we move into this devolved governance, as we move into this new setup where the people will decide what it is they want for their local communities. So I said, will the new setup be overseen by the Project 2025 framework? I have talked about Project 2025, and I will put that in the links below so that you can go back and have a look at that. They said to me that the new setup, it will and it won't involve Project 2025. They said that Project 2025 is just one of the templates of how they're going to devolve governance in the future. But they said a new platform for devolution of governance will be announced by Trump shortly, which will lead into the Freedom City frameworks, and that Musk is likely to head up the Freedom City tech development, which will be involved with the devolution of governance, They said that Musk is also going to work with Jack Dorsey. So that was very interesting. Those two always seem to come out together as working well together as a team. So I said, will the new setup be a military setup to allow for this devolution of governance? And they said only in the respect that Space Force Delta will oversee all the cybersecurity integrity between all the devolved systems, which will be banking, communications, and voting, for example. And I said, so will the new setup of devolution begin in 2025? And they said to me that actually devolution has already begun, but it's in the background. And it's going to become more and more visible to the people around the time of 2026 to 2027. And I said, why would it become more visible at that time? And they said that it is anticipated that all the tech integrity will be ready to go live to the public in 2026, 2027. And I said, what is the tech integrity? And they said that again, it's devolved voting systems, devolved financial systems, devolved communication platforms to allow for free speech. So under the new lineup for the USA 2024 and beyond, they gave me the major players. So if you look at the chart, we've got the worldwide military peace plan at the top with the commander in chief, which is President Trump. And then we've got Musk as another lead player. And then on the next line, we've got Baron Trump coming in now. We've got Ron DeSantis, and we've got Robert F.K. Jr. We've also got Tulsi Gabbard, Mike Scott, we've got Tim Scott, who is been in my file for a little while. He is the senator for South Carolina since 2013. Byron Donalds is an American politician and financial professional who serves in Florida's 19th congressional district since 2021. Now, they actually said he'll be involved in human relations. Not exactly sure what that means at the moment, but that was the heading they gave for him. Then in the next layer, they had Vivek Ramaswamy. And to the right of that, they had Candace Owens, Kayleigh McEnemy, and they had in brackets media. And then at the very bottom, they've got Oprah, Lady Gaga, John Voight as examples of peace ambassadors that look like they're going to represent the Hollywood district, the Hollywood actors and media. So this looks like they're putting forward a rough plan of how things might look in the new setup in terms of having groups of people that are going to overlook certain functions in order to bring together or to devolve down governance to the people. So this diagram is a very rough platform, or it's not really a hierarchy as such. It's just more of a plan to show that there will be pockets of people that are going to be working together to promote a certain narrative. So, for example, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., he may be the ambassador for health. And I actually asked them that, will he be the ambassador for health? And they said yes, he's going to be the ambassador for health, which was very interesting because in previous videos, when I've talked about Robert F. Kennedy, they said he would pull back because of health and wouldn't go into the election. And now I'm wondering if what they were trying to explain was that he wasn't being pulled back because of his own health, but because he was going to be in the new setup representing health. He's going to be an ambassador for health. So this is how channeling sometimes you have to go back and listen again, because sometimes they're not always able to give us the full information, but they give us the information in a way that it's still accurate, but without telling us everything before we're supposed to know it. And then Ron DeSantis, I said, will he have a prominent role going forward? And they said, yes, he's going to flank Trump going forward from 25 to 27. So I think he's going to flank Trump with names like Musk and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. And they did say that Ron DeSantis is going to be an ambassador of peace. and he's going to help bring in the new systems of devolution to the people, devolution of governance. So this is very interesting how they're now starting to use words like ambassador of health, ambassador of peace. They also had ambassador of peace underneath Oprah, Gaga, and John Voight. So this plan will probably unfold and become more clear as we go along, but this is what they've given me so far. I don't read it as a hierarchy as such, more that we should read it as pockets of specialized people who are going to lead certain narratives. They're going to be ambassadors for peace or devolution or health or whatever the subject matter is of the block that they become assigned to. And it's going to be the process by which they devolve information and authority to the people. They're going to be, if you like mentors to the people of how to go about deciding what they want in the future when they vote for policy and not people. I also recently put out the video around Mbridge and how the CBDCs are going to be overseen by the military. And I talked about how Mohammed bin Salman, is a major player in the Mbridge platform and how he's going to be the intermediary between the currencies of the East and the West. And so a video I put out probably about a year ago now was called The King Move and Queen Move. And it's looking like Mbridge and Mohammed bin Salman and United Arab Emirates and Saudi Arabia moving to Mbridge might have been that king move. And the queen move may very well be Trump announcing his new cryptocurrency, the Defiant ones. Maybe we're going to have a Trump bridge. We have a BRICS bridge, although that's not announced yet. We have Mbridge, and who knows, we might have a Trump bridge, which will be the cross-border payment system, possibly for the USA. So it might be worth going back and looking at the videos called The King and Queen Move with Trump and Salman. And it might be worth looking at my video regarding the military and how they're going to oversee the centralized banking digital currency, which it will be run through the multiple blockchain platform called Mbridge. I did ask, is there more to be announced regarding all of these platforms, these currency platforms? And they said yes, there's a lot to be announced, which will affect the new setup. Now, when I talk about the new setup, I'm talking about what happens beyond the election of 2024, whether that goes ahead or is postponed, or whatever happens at 2024. The things I'm talking about right now, when I say new setup, are the things that are going to happen beyond 2024. My feeling has always been that the start point of the new setup will be 2025, which is why I've spoken about Project 2025 in the past, because it would seem that the framework of Project 2025 is going to be one of the frameworks they're going to use in order to do devolution of governance to the people. So talking of elections 2024, Trump has just announced something called Trump Force 47, and it appears, I will post the link below, and it is advertised on my locals.com platform, but it says that Trump Force 47 is the official army of volunteer neighborhood organizers who are going to work together to defeat Kamala Harris and the far left Liberal Democrats. And they're asking for people to commit small amounts of their time so that they can make a big impact. Now, when I first looked at this, I was thinking this looks a lot like the initial stages of showing people how we can devolve authority to the public so that they have a say and an active role in different aspects of their life. Now, Trump Force 47 seems to have different tasks that they're asking people to volunteer for, including targeted voter outreach in your neighborhood, calling targeted voters, poll watching, and perhaps hosting a Trump house party amongst other things. So I wanted to look around Trump Force 47. I said, Trump Force 47, is it just a volunteer set up for the election, or is it a template of volunteers that they intend to use or to usher in the new devolved setup that I've been talking about previously in this video? And they said that the Trump Force 47 is connected to the infrastructure and the integrity of Space Force, and it is intended to set up a secure system of voting procedure and policy for the USA election of 2024. So I thought that was very interesting. And I said, does this cover the integrity of digital voting? They said, no, it is just intended to involve volunteers in the paper ballots, counting, and administration. So based on those answers, it would seem that in the background, Space Force are setting up some kind of secure systems regarding voting procedures and policy, and that will oversee how the paper ballots are counted and the administration of them during the next election. And by involving volunteers, I think this is a way of moving the narrative towards this idea that we're devolving responsibility to the people in their areas of interest. So I think this is a very clever concept. And as I said, I will post that link in the description below. You can also find how to volunteer for Trump Force 47 at mylocals.com page. So then on the back of my recent video about the military overseeing the CBDCs, the centralized banking digital currencies, and how they're going to use the platform Mbridge in order to move cross-border payments for multiple digital currencies. Then a few days after I released that video on mylocals.com channel, President Trump announced that he was now promoting a new crypto platform called the Defiant ones. And I wanted to have a look around that and see if that links in at all to any new cross-border payment plan, or how that might fit into the video I just made regarding Mbridge and the digital currencies. So Trump promotes this as the family's new crypto platform, the Defiant ones. So the first thing I noticed was DeFi in the Defiant ones. DeFi in the quantum financial system stands for decentralized finance. Now, the key points that Trump is making about this new crypto platform, he's saying that the Defiant ones is for his 7.5 million followers on the Truth Social platform. And he's saying that for too long, the average American has been squeezed by big banks and financial elites, and that Trump is saying it's time that we take a stand together. It's saying that this is the first time that a Republican nominee for president has used a personal platform to promote a yet unactivated digital bank. So former President Donald Trump has promoted a soon-to-launch Trump Organization crypto platform called the Defiant Ones for his 7.5 million followers on Truth Social. And he's saying that for too long, the average American has been squeezed by the big banks and financial elites, and it's time that we take a stand together. So I asked, Trump's new platform for cryptocurrency, I noticed that Defi, or as in Defiant, Defiant Ones, this can also be related to the term decentralized finance. And they said exactly that Trump's new financial platform will be a new digital payment platform starting with cryptocurrency, and it is likely to merge with X.com banking or be a subsidiary of X.com banking going forward. They said that Musk and Trump will work together in 2025 to bring a new financial setup to the USA. They said a new devolved, decentralized method of banking in crypto and digital currency is likely, and it is likely that they're going to use a version of the Mbridge platform for this digital currency. And I said, will it be called Trump Bridge? And they said no, but other platforms and currencies may be linked to Trump's brands going forward, and all new crypto and digital currencies in the USA will need to be backed by assets like gold, silver, and they will need to be regulated. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this unfolds, and if Musk and Trump now start working together to create this new financial platform for people in the USA. So the next piece of news that's recently come about is the arrest of the Telegram CEO and co-founder, Pavel Durov. Now, Pavel Durov is a Russian business executive. He's the co-founder and chief executive officer of Telegram, the messaging platform. And since 2021, it's interesting to me that he has citizenship in 4 countries, including Russia, St. Kitts and Nevis, the United Arab Emirates, and France. Now, Durov was recently arrested whilst traveling through France, and the media is citing that it's because they're investigating what they're saying is organized crime. On the media are also citing that Telegram has been favored by pro-democracy activists in Russia, Hong Kong, and Iran. And they're saying that it has become a haven for extremists. So the Telegram is based in the United Arab Emirates, and it has nearly 1 billion users worldwide. So I wanted to look at what this might be about, because obviously recently we've been hearing that X has had problems as well with different locations saying it can't run its platform because of its non-censorship policies. So I said, the owner, Pavel Durov of Telegram, is he a white hat? And they said to me that Pavel Durov is not a white hat. It's more that he's an independent, but he does believe in the sanctity of free speech, hence the design of the Telegram platform. They're saying that his arrest is part of the White Hat storyline to raise awareness around issues regarding free speech, and that in time this will be ironed out as we move forward. They're saying there will be more tussles over free speech going forward, particularly around X and other people who speak out about free speech. They gave me an example of, say, Andrew Tate. So people that are speaking out for free speech or who have platforms that are promoting free speech and non-censorship, this is going to be an ongoing tussle that we're going to see in the media going forward. So next I wanted to ask, where is, in terms of Reclaim the Net, which is the Trump media platform, and Truth Social, where I wanted to know where they fall in terms of like the Q systems, the Q framework, because obviously these two are also platforms for non-censorship and free speech. I wanted to see how they might be protected in terms of cybersecurity and military protection. We do know from my previous video that Truth Social is a military communications platform and already falls under the Q structure. So I wanted to know, where does Reclaim the Net fall as well? So they gave me this diagram as to where we are at the moment. They're saying obviously that Space Force is at the top with the Delta's cybersecurity, which is all part of Q system. And then underneath, they've got Reclaim the Net, which obviously oversees the Truth Social network. And that will now have the cryptocurrency Defiant ones. And that seems to link in to X.com banking. And as you can see from this diagram, it all kind of links in together. And that's why I think in the future, we're going to see a lot more of Musk and Trump working together in terms of creating some sort of decentralized finance system, which will have new platforms like the Defiant ones for cryptocurrency and digital currency. So that's going to be interesting to watch how that unfolds. So finally, while we're talking of social media platforms, I wanted to know if Google and Microsoft will be, if they're going to be disbanded or restructured going forward. And what they actually said to me was that Musk is designing a new search engine and email service, which will eventually replace Google. But they didn't actually tell me what was going to happen with Microsoft. I said, what? So then I asked them around the social media networks, will they merge? I have spoken about this before, will Musk take over YouTube? And they're saying it is likely that platforms like Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube will fall under X in the future as we go forward. So I asked them, will Meta join with X? And they said no, Meta will be a standalone entity going forward, which will probably be absorbed either into X or Reclaim the Net, but it was undecided at this moment in time. So it looks like Meta, in the first instance, will be on its own. It will be a standalone entity. But then as we go forward, it might get absorbed into either the X platform or Reclaim the Net platform. So J.D. Vance's link to Silicon Valley and venture capitalism, I said, is that the reason why Trump has brought Vance in? And he said, actually, no, Trump has brought Vance in to gain more knowledge of how Silicon Valley works in the respect of who is designing and developing tech with white hat intention to serve humanity. They said also, Vance is a key player in understanding how money flows through the tech industry, especially in Silicon Valley. And they said, in effect, Vance is a kind of sting operation on those that he has had dealings with in the past, which will include PayPal and that defense contractor Palantir. And I said, so Trump seems to be focused at the moment on tech, on the tech industry. And they said, yes. They said all future innovations regarding, say, freedom cities, devolution of governance, devolved voting, communications, and devolved finance, these new tech innovations and their setup, they require a strong team of not just tech developers and software developers, but also a stellar team in terms of cybersecurity. They said that no system is effective without watertight cybersecurity. So Trump is building a strong team around him who can tackle the move from warfare on the ground to warfare in the arena of space, namely cybersecurity. They said that the Star Shield and the satellite infrastructures are pulling together the worldwide military peace plan and are all needing a secure, stellar cybersecurity setup so that all systems of devolution and are protected going forward around the world. They said the effectiveness of the worldwide military peace plan is dependent on a stellar cybersecurity system enveloping all systems. So I asked them, who is Trump pulling together to create this stellar sort of tech and cybersecurity team? And they said that the team will consist of the top team, which is the Q team, plus other people who have got valuable tech, software, or cybersecurity experience or innovation. They said the team is being assembled worldwide to encompass the layers of Space Force in the north, south, east, and west, and any private organizations. So when we say Space Force, it might have a different name in each geographical location, or that's a military geographical location of north, south, east, or west. But when we say Space Force, we're basically talking about that layer of cybersecurity that is going to oversee all these new satellite systems and tech innovations that are going to oversee and run the worldwide military peace plan. They said that everybody's skills, innovations are being meshed together to create a strong framework from which the worldwide military peace plan can run effectively, and that tech innovation, integration, and cybersecurity are top of the to-do list at this time worldwide. Finally, I wanted to look at Zuckerberg. I said, is Mark Zuckerberg, is he a white hat? And they said in the past, Zuckerberg was not involved with any white hat plans, but was recruited more recently to help move forwards with the Trump tech vision. So it looks like Mark Zuckerberg will be working with Trump in this new vision for the technological changes. And I said, what will Zuckerberg's role be as we move forward? And they said that all people with relevant tech experience, particularly in the arena of devolution frameworks or cybersecurity, are now being brought together under Trump's direction as they plan to devolve governance to we the people, and this plan is now gaining momentum. They said theoretically, systems for devolution of government via the new setup are planned to go fully live by 2026 to 2027. So what I'm finding very interesting as we're moving forward is how the new setup is going to bring in all different skills from all layers of society. If you look at it from volunteering for the Trump Force 47, all the way up to bringing in Musk to work with Trump on the banking system, the new platforms and cryptocurrency and digital currency platforms. It's like we're bringing together the best of everybody in order to create this cohesive plan and move into the new devolved setup, which, as I said, is due to start moving forward after the election of 2024. And I think that whether the election of 2024 is delayed or postponed or goes ahead is actually not relevant. I think that what happens after that is actually what our focus should be on in terms of how they're going to create the new devolved setup. So I hope you've really enjoyed this information today. You can find everything around Project 2025, and you can look at the military overseeing the centralized banking digital currencies, and Mbridge, which is the platform which is going to run multiple digital currencies worldwide. And you can find all of my previous intel and information regarding everything to do with the new setup and the players going forward, how that might look at mylocals.com platform. And I'd like to thank everybody who has stayed with me through all the times that my platforms have been taken down. I lost Patreon early on, then I lost Vimeo, then I had a fight to keep YouTube running, albeit I can only put spiritual teachings on there now. But I thank everybody for sticking with me and for all your donations and support and comments. And I look forward to seeing you all next time. Bye for now.